Welcome to Daytime Ottawa. I am your host, Derek Fage. Another great show lined up. We continue with our content as we lead up to Earth Day. We've got a couple of great guests that are going to talk to you about some of the wonderful things that they're doing and some encouragement to you at home to make some smarter choices. Also, the owner of the Rainbow Bistro, the legendary music venue. Lots of exciting things happening there, so looking forward to catching up with its owner. But we start off the show with the Canadian Museum of Nature because they have their new Bugs Alive exhibit, and I am joined by the head of animal care, Stuart Botanist. Stuart, welcome to the show. Great to have you here. Stuart, you must be having so much fun with this exhibit. This is one of those exhibits that I think just is great for the imagination of both young and old, isn't it?
Oh, it's been a lot of fun with this exhibit, watching all the different people come in and see the bugs, and especially our big stars, the leafcutter ants. It's been very rewarding.
Nice. Let's talk about the planning and the development of these habitats. So what goes into that kind of planning?
Well, a whole lot of time. For example, like the leafcutter ants is something that's been on our list for a very long time. And it's about 4 years of planning to get the leafcutter ant on display. So it's working with a lot of different people from all over the planet on different how they built their exhibits and with the leaf cutters and coming up with our own kind of take on it.
Well, you mentioned the leafcutter ants. I think those are really the stars of this exhibit. We have some footage we're going to roll through here, and maybe you can just describe exactly what the process is, what we're seeing during that particular exhibit with the leafcutter ants.
Well, the image you're looking at right now and a bunch of these other ones are the leafcutter ants doing their job, foraging for leaves. So people will be able to see their area where they forage. There's a big area of leaves. Then they transport them over to these area here where the globes are. And this is where like the magic happens. That's like the fungus chambers. So that's where the ants, there I am working away,
nice.
Feeding the ants. And there's the foraging area I was saying earlier. And there's the ants carrying over their food over towards their fungus chambers.
So, these obviously, as I mentioned, the stars of the show, Stuart, but there are many other stars. Walk us through, what are some of the other, insects and arachnids we're going to find in this exhibit?
Well, our visitors are going to be able to see hissing cockroaches. They're going to be able to see cave cockroaches, and another species which is new is a domino cockroach. And the domino cockroaches are very cool because they have they're black with a bunch of spots that look like actually dominoes. And further on in the exhibit, they'll see different species of arachnids from scorpions to scorpion and a couple tarantulas. And one of our tarantulas on display is our giant bird eater. She's around almost 19 years old.
Oh my goodness. There is such a thing, I'm sorry, I have to stop you there, as a bird-eating tarantula. And you know what? There's a lot of myths when it comes to tarantulas. Can you sort of discuss some of those myths with us, Stuart?
Well, some of the myths aren't necessarily true. Like tarantulas aren't coming out to hunt you or anybody else. That's one of the images there. You can see the bird eater on the glass. But they're kind of an ambush predator. So they kind of live in a little tiny hole, like in a burrow, or they'll make like a webbing pocket, and they'll live in there and they'll stay there all day long. And then they'll kind of wait till the opportunity to feed. They jump out, get their food, and quickly hurry back into their burrow.
What region of the world do those come from?
So we've got a couple different areas. So Central America and South America is where some of our species of tarantulas come from.
And many insects and arachnids, of course, as you just described, outside of this, of our country. But there's probably some similar cousins. Can you talk a little bit about, what we may find within the exhibit that have some sort of similar cousins here in Canada?
Yeah, we have, in Canada, we have walking sticks. And walking sticks are pretty largely dispersed around the planet. They go almost as far north as to the Arctic. So in the Ottawa region, you'll find the northern walking stick. So if you're lucky enough to find one, hiking in the woods or in your backyard, you'll find them. And same with different species of scarabs. We have some scarab species here in Ontario and across Canada. So you'll be able to see some of the tropical species on exhibit. And one of the reasons why we don't have a lot of native species on display is they require a dormancy period.
Oh,
So
I see.
they're not always visible all year round, whereas we can bring in their cousins that are visible all year round. So that's one of the reasons why we have the tropical species.
Stuart, I'll go back to the leafcutter ants for just a moment, because I don't think, a lot of people see insects as a nuisance, and that shouldn't be the case, because they do play an important role in our ecosystems. Can you talk about, like, for instance, what would the role be of a leafcutter ant in our ecosystem?
Well, the leafcutter ant is kind of a unique species, that it's a true farmer.
Right.
So they're going out, they're harvesting leaves, they're bringing the leaves in to grow the fungus. And in turn, the fungus is food for the ants. So what their role is in the environment is they're doing kind of clear cutting in the area, so it allows other species of plants to grow from the forest floor and to develop. The other thing is, too, with all the waste material that the ants from all their harvested leaves and the spent material from the fungus, it is material that can go back into the soil as highly nutritious material that fertilizes future growth and new plant material.
Is this a permanent exhibit at the museum?
Yes, the Bugs Alive is a permanent exhibit at the Museum of Nature.
Stuart, you're fully open now? Are you still do you still have some health and safety protocols put in place?
The museum is back fully open.
Okay.
We do encourage people to follow health and safety protocols.
And we brought up the website online there, and people can look at the schedule and the opening hours. Stuart, thanks so much for joining us. Really appreciate it.
Oh, thank you for having me.
Oh, you're very welcome. Again, that's the Bugs Alive exhibit at the Museum of Nature. We'll be back with more after this.